What's up, my name is Kevin. I go by the name THELIONCITYBOY. I'm a rapper from Singapore. Most of my stories are all like, eye level, from under the block, Singaporean stories. I feel like I've made a name for myself. I'm just, telling my perspective of Singapore. And I'm excited to be here, man.
Okay, cool. But why the Lion City Boy?
Why the Lion City Boy? I mean, the first part of it, okay, I think there's a whole huge conversation about identity in Singapore, especially like us as Singaporeans. What are we? Really, like that's the question. Like even five of your best friends around the table, we all look different. We all have different backgrounds, but we all can come together. I've always gotten the like, you from where? You don't look like you're from Singapore. You Malay? I cannot place you. My name is Kevin Lester. I think like people don't connect that as a Singaporean. So I'm a big fan of Kid Cudi, and Kid Cudi I saw articles just calling himself the Cleveland Kid. So I saved on Twitter, the Lion City Boy, just ran with it. And as a rapper at that time, I was just going by Kevin Lester, in the band, in the band scene that I was part of. But then when I wanted to make that jump to solo, I felt like I just needed a name so that people stop asking me that question.
While listening to some of Kevin's tracks, I noticed that most of his themes were about everyday Singaporean life that made them really relatable. I asked Kevin if telling Singaporean stories came naturally to him.
It was, but it was really hard to do because, I'm about to get deep. I don't know. No, because I feel like, look, so my just go back really quickly. My dad's dad is an Indian man who only could speak Malay, who managed to tangkap a Eurasian lady. Her name is Benita Iber. She looked very Caucasian. Then because of his environment, my father his Hokkien is better than his English. He's like, that I think it's part of like, that Abings, father Abing lah, bro, okay? Then you married a Eurasian lady. So it's like this whole thing, I feel like this is what the block was about, to bring like all these different races. And I always felt like, wow, I feel like I'm so Singaporean because all these cultures are in my house at one time going. The brothers come together, they don't look Chinese, but the Hokkien is flying in my house. There's like Kristang culture, curry devil everywhere. But like, people never associated me as a Singaporean for whatever way I looked and spoke. So it was hard to tell stories, but always continue to remind people, I'm from Singapore. So as I learned to like write and like tell stories better, I think I just had like it was like a conscious effort to make the stories as simple as possible. That's where I think I learned to write better lah. So it felt natural to me, but when I was telling it, I feel like I could tell people like, you're from Singapore, bro. So it was hard to like not just repeat myself, to just always say, I'm from Singapore. I just wanted to represent who I was and my environment.
Who got you into hip hop?
I think there's my older sister. I shared a room with her. She was like playing Tupac, Biggie all the time, Bone Thugs. I was like, what is this? It's like, this is really loud. It's like on her Winamp player. Shout out to her. She was early download. She was like on that already before your torrents and all. And like, I think as she was out, she was like a Fies kid or whatever, I would just scroll through her Winamp. And then I found these songs. And I think like, especially Tupac, I think like just the way he told the stories was very like, I don't know, almost like poetic. And it just seems so crazy to me how like, I have no idea who this person is, but like I can feel what he's saying. And I think I really got into that. But maybe when I really got into it was like with The Roots. With like the front man, his name is Black Thought. I was like, this guy has no bad verse ever. And like the art of it, he just made so interesting.
Another theme I noticed in Kevin's songs was the element of constantly pushing yourself and making it big. It's a common theme in hip-hop, with artists like Biggie, Jay-Z embodying a larger-than-life personality that fans or even themselves can aspire to, with songs like Big Papa or Can't Knock the Hustle. I asked Kevin if pushing himself was one of his motivations to constantly create.
Yeah, I guess because also like I've always been very DIY in a way, whereas like, it's just the way I like to create. So sometimes like even the big studios like are very intimidating to me. but it's like silence and like perfect like acoustics. I feel like, wow, like there's so much pressure. So I've always loved to go to studios that are in HDBs. Like most of my music is made with a producer named Flight School in the studio in Bukit Ho Swee. He taught me how to record properly, and I started to have a studio in my own home. And it's just this idea of like, after these songs come out, right, then I go play F1. I play Elaine Way. I play my own little show at Kilo. Do all these brand things or whatever. But it's built from the block. Like I have a song called To The Max where I say, I'm a threat working from a flat, hardest on the set. It's like, I'm a threat working from a flat. Like, I want to be proud of that.
I'm a threat working from a flat, hottest on the track. When you see me, send a text in the flesh. 540, 142 it in the map. Anchorville and back, bro, my work is on receipt. When they go to sleep.
Even in the song, I say 540, 142 it in the map. It's like literally the address code of my house that I used to stay. I just wanted to like tell people like, it's possible to like create. You don't have to like feel you need like $150 studio at this moment. You can create anywhere. You can collaborate with anyone at any time. Obviously technology has made it so accessible. It can be done. And like that attitude has just always stuck with me. And I guess it always creeps back into my songs. Regardless if it's about an old bike or like the president of Singapore. It's just those stories that I fall in love with. I have a song called Halima where I just love this. I think our president is like, I think she just was announced that she became first female president of Singapore, right? So I made a freestyle on my IG. I put it up. Then it was like, should I do a verse too? Everyone's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, I'll complete this song. So I made it with everyone on Instagram. Then I bought her website also, which was a funny story. Then it was all part of like just me sharing this song. And then like once it went out, like I guess people really got into it also. And like her team sent me like through another person a SMS. It's like, what is the song about? Can you tell us more? They want to share it. I was like, the president want to share my song? But it never materialized. It was just all questions. And then like later on, I found out that like there was a literal meeting because there's an artist on the song. His name is Akim Jahat. His verse is in like Bahasa. So there was a meeting. Apparently someone had to transcribe what Akim Jahat's verse in Halima was about to the president's team. And to me, it's like, it's great lah. It's just, it's getting closer. That bridge is not that far then. It's like our lives, music, culture, our identity is like a bit more intertwined. And I want more of that in Singapore. Just like how a New Yorker is, a Londoner is, just for us to carry that, our identity everywhere we go. You see it in sport, in the States as well. But I don't see it here. But just to know that like the president has a story in music, I thought was kind of cool. That there's a Twitter video that did some rounds that she does a meet and greet, right? She walked into a wedding, then the DJ he dropped Halima as she's shaking people's hand. Like, it's Halima. Halima. You can see the crowd behind. Everyone's like shouting, Halima. Just for people to take on your song, I think that's the ultimate compliment as an artist. And that's all I want.
I think you come from a very pure, very pure creative spirit of just creating content and just expressing yourself. Is that what keeps you going? Like you just constantly want to create?
100%. Like in some ways, I mean, just maybe because this is a show that we need to talk about things, right? Like I've always felt like maybe, or some people have told me also like if I stuck with a sound, I would have done, more things. But like what you just said, it's like that thrill of just expressing yourself, just even to buy the president's website, to me it was just like, I'm creating a story. You know, it's like just to teach some people a lesson. So it's like, you don't scam people. You buy 1 year the subscription. This is the president staying for what, 5 years, like I just want to like look back and like tell a cool story. And that's always where it starts.
As a Singaporean, I've always wondered how a local rapper feels about imposter syndrome, taking on such a rich culture that was born overseas and making it his or her own. I talked about this in the previous episode with Bigot, and we'll continue to talk about this with Young Raja on the next episode. Here's Kevin with his take on dealing with imposter syndrome.
I've always, I guess, it is a borrowed culture. It's almost learned. I found hip-hop almost like in reverse. I found out about like, I guess, like Tupac, Biggie, skip to all like your, what you hear on radio, and then suddenly like, you're like, oh, there's so much more I need to understand. And I think in terms of like, even the culture is like, there's so much to it and it's so sensitive. I think I took many years to really like even be confident enough to talk about it to other people. But it's a culture that I felt very at home with very quickly also. It's just the way it told the stories, and like that idea that rap was born to tell a message, to speak on behalf of like a community, to really share a story further. I felt like very connected to that because even as a minority in Singapore, it's like there are so many conversations that, and this was when I was starting at least there's no like social media, right? It's like there's so many stories that were untold, and I wanted to use this art to express myself because sometimes even in conversation I feel like I don't know how to talk to people or whatever, but it helped me grow. But then Attack came along, like after now you feel connected like to the spirit of the music and like why it was made and how you are using it to create your own. Then I felt, I went through this thing on like, how do I look? I felt like should I wear baggy clothes? Must my clothes be from like, back then it was like my sister's clothes were like cross colors and Alien Workshop, big, baggy, Until now, I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it Jinko or GNCO jeans? Those jeans are giant ones. And like, must you have Timberlands? I went through all those things. I always felt like uncomfortable. But then came along artists that like didn't look like rappers to me. Like again, it was like, I was lucky to find like Cuddy and all of them, like mixtapes that were very early. Even like fast forward to like now with all the like the Gambino stuff, the maybe Gold Link, artists like that I really see myself in. Then I became more comfortable. That's how long it took for me to be comfortable in a scene that I've been part of for so long, But I feel like the thing that you have to be true to is like hip-hop is almost, or rap is almost a reflection of your environment. And now I feel like I'm more comfortable, like just, I'm a rapper, I found my way in life, have a family, we the kids are in school, they all look okay, we all normal problems, like things here is super hard, and I'm more comfortable in my own skin being part of the scene, but it's a constant conversation in my head until now. With like, especially like when the Black Lives Matter movements and all, it's like, what do I say? Like I'm this scene has like gifted me so many things. But you must, I feel like, always be open to like learning and having conversations with the right people, so that you also know like where your place is. I'm not sure if like that's even answering the question or that's saying anything at all, but like that was how I've sort of like learned through and dealt with my own conversation about imposter syndrome in being a rapper.
What are 3 lessons you have learned along the way?
3 lessons I learned. One is that you have your own path. You don't have to be anyone left and right. You know, like you have your own journey. I think that's the most important thing. I feel like sometimes I ask myself, like, how come I'm so lucky to be around? But I feel like I just keep going back to like you said, like the way I was always creating. I just felt like this is all I wanted to do, and just I was at peace with who I was going through this path. And I think that's super important. Like with social media these days, you know, you can see that everyone has their own circles. There's this pie that people always think that like, oh, you know, we all, so not enough of us to share this space. There is so much space for each of us. You know, we have our own styles, our own stories. People will connect with us differently. So I think that's one lesson. Like you have your own journey. You don't need to be anybody else. I think in the style of my music, I think that's something I learned, that like the stories I told, you know, sometimes you tell stories through other people's eyes, and then like it's not clear. You know, like something Akim Jahar always talks about is like, I think as a rapper, it's like you try to like shrink the story in like 2 lines, like you know already what I'm talking about. Like even I was talking about like that a song called To The Max is I'm a threat working from a flat. It's I already told you already what this song is about, where it was born, what is this space, and what and where this when it ends, right, like who this person was at the start, you know, straight away. I think that's an important lesson to like try to like paint the story very quickly to people, because I feel like that's how people connect with, especially with music that moves so fast these days. It's like you want to tell a story, tell it clearly in a short period of time. That's how I sort of like started to create. What's the last lesson? Collaborate. I think I was very shy and very like nervous to like collaborate because I didn't understand my own power. You know what I mean? I always felt like, wow, everybody like so talented. Yeah. Like what if I open my mouth and it's a stupid idea? And I was very lucky to have people who pushed me into collaborating. I was like there at Midnight Shift. I was there with like listening to Syndicate with Cat, you know, in the hip hop scene, the band scene. I collaborated with like 8 other people to form a band. And these moments really grew me as a person and also as an artist, because now you are forced to like you are not 100% in some way. You need to give up something so that for the better of like what you are creating together. So I would say like you have your own path, like tell your story and collaborate.
As with the last episode, I'm always curious about how artists and creatives define the concept of selling out. My perspective has changed over the years. I used to view selling out as taking corporate money, being bought over by a bigger company, for example. But now, I view the concept of selling out as something more internal, something that you have to come to terms with yourself, balancing your creative integrity with whatever opportunities you can take that sustains yourself to carry on your journey as a creative person. Here are Kevin's thoughts on selling out, as well as a pretty funny anecdote that I hadn't heard before. So what does a sellout mean to you?
I think that's a question that only you know the answer to. And if you cannot come to peace with the things you create, right, I suggest you not take that path and not look in the mirror and almost like say it to yourself, you know? Because I think we all have those moments where we look at ourselves, it's like, what? Like, who am I? What am I doing? So I mean, I hope to never cross that line. I feel like I've always come to points where like I've asked myself also, because it's like it's so hard sometimes to balance out what you do as a, you know, when you work with brands and the artist you want to be, because it's money on the table, bro. You know what I mean? So like I think like Sheikh Haikal is a great example. It's like anything that Haikal does, right, he is a rapper. He is hip hop. He is the person who started this all. You will always know that. You know, I think that's a testament to like how he does things also. And he does everything. You know, he's hosted NDP and all. And I feel like that's who I want to aspire to also like be. In every space that you do, is like it's just always genuine, and people can see that you are doing it because you are you. So if you cannot say that you are at peace with who you are, and when you are doing all these things, then maybe you are a sellout. Yeah, you know, when I had a moment once where I was like, what the hell am I doing? And like we stopped the whole thing. So I was doing it was a brand for electronics, okay? Suddenly during the shoot, the person said, we want to dress you up as Gandalf. I was like, Gandalf? That was in the script. What? Apparently it was.
The Lord of the Rings boy.
Yeah, you know, I was like, what? And then they put on the beard. I was like, because it's contractually, am I supposed to do this now? Because it was inside, but we missed it. And they put on the white beard, and like there was a stick I could see coming. I see the cloak ready, but I was like, I could not come to peace with that. If this is something that like I did, and it was for an ad, I'm standing there as Gandalf. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? And that was the moment where, yeah, I was like, no. So we fought not to have that scene. And truthfully enough, in that scene, in that moment, like the brand was there. So they're like, what the hell do you want to dress THELIONCITYBOY? I was the Gandalf for what? You know, they thought, I'm so sorry that this agency is asking you to do this.
I think that's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. So it's actually nobody wants to do this. But for whatever reason, like the agency thought like this is what everyone wants. And like I think if, yeah, like that would be a moment where if someone would ask me, did you sell out at that moment? And if I wore it, I feel like I cannot answer anything else, but yeah, maybe I did. You know, but I promise you that like in every moment, like I will always try like to speak to my managers like, am I doing it correctly? is this too much?
Maybe Singapore needed a Gandalf Kevin.
No, luckily they don't need. But I mean, to your point earlier, so about being independent or like being a label, right? You know that I feel like this is if you are a young artist listening, like be independent first. Don't jump to be in a label, because you need to create leverage. I feel like be independent for sure. Like build your base, like build your fans. You know, create a connection and engagement. That when you do need help and you go to the label, right, they need you more than you need them. You know, I feel I was quite lucky that when I went to Sony, it was like somewhere there already. You know, I'm like, but why do I need you to get me a brand deal and like this person comes to me direct? Now I get direct, I pass to you. It's weird. You know, so it's like it should come to a point where like you create for yourself first. But a label can really help you propel yourself. So you, even if you sign, it's not a sellout, a story. It's just like, why are you going there for? If you are day one artist and then you jump to the label, then I think you don't know what you want, because you haven't experienced what like you and your fans need.
Awesome. I think we're done. Any last words, shout outs?
Shout out to you guys for inviting me and for like, I guess, trying to help me tell my story also, because I feel like there's so many stories to tell. You know, even this story, like where we are now, is I feel I want people to know that like every good story starts off in collaboration. And like, you know, when you send me that text to like you say you want to talk about hip hop, you know, you want to interview a different artist, and I feel like I just reply 100%, because I'm also a fan of you guys, and I feel like if you are out there and you find yourself an artist, or you find yourself a musician that you're listening to on Spotify, you know, make sure you share that with a friend also, because I feel like there's so much talent that is like undiscovered in a way, you know, because what am I talking about already? I don't know.
Rewind.
Thank you for your hospitality, for having me, for helping me tell my story. There's new music on the way, new music that I'm very proud of also, because like I'm trying to be a bit more vulnerable. Like on this new path. That's my journey right now, and I can't wait to share with everyone. If there's an artist out there that is for you also, please go and check it out on Spotify, Singapore Hits. There's so many amazing rappers that like maybe you don't hear often, but you know, like young guys like from Allure Records, you know, there's Kali, there's Omar Kenobi, there's like Bars coming out. There is Unknown Radicals, Aesop Cash, ROTB Collective that's like really doing grassroots work. I think these are the stories that also build the scene. A lot of times people talk about a few names only, and I think we are also blessed that people always share our story, but we cannot do this. We have not done this alone. There are so many acts that when I was a fan of watching, when the Sheikh Haikal time and Triple Noise time, there was like so many other acts like this S1 I was telling you about, who became XS, then Freaky Z, all these people played a very big part to what we have today in the scene, and there's many more new acts that I think people should check out. So go on Spotify, go on Apple Music, make sure you check out your local artists. If you like it, share it. Thanks for having me. Yes, the Lion City Boy on everything. I made it very simple. But yeah, new music on the way, and I'm like, after 2 years, really happy to like finally say that. It took me a while and a hard drive of songs that like will never go out to finally get to like this new sound that I found living in the East. I want to represent like this moment that after moving to my own space, and that's what these songs will be about in the East.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to this episode of Under Wraps. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. Stay tuned for the next episode with another good friend of mine, Young Raja. Ciao.
Me and Zeke getting nothing to compare us. All these fellas trying to make a point that the realest seems like everybody need to go to Bali, get a villa while I'm sick of paying bills on the same machine. Try to do the gyro, but they pay my check slow. Yeah, man. Star ready. Saw me on the TV with Nasty. Star ready. And I'm late to the hoo-ha. Can you see him here with a pot already? Roy tried tell me just the other day I should be the same side as him, but I'm far away. Wait until you see my money flowing like a February holiday. Start already. Pray for me.